Battlefield is one of those franchises that really defined large-scale warfare in gaming. With Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, Battlefield 1, these iconic battlefields, all well known for the destruction, their immersiveness, large-scale maps, vehicles, fighter jets, tanks. It's always been fantastic. But 2024, they fell off a cliff a bit. But when the alpha dropped for Battlefield 6, everybody was enthusiastic about the direction and what it was presented. And yes, the beta was really a bit tailor-made to appeal to a new audience, maybe the Call of Duty audience as well, but everybody had high hopes that, especially with Vince Zampella leading Battlefield Studios, everybody was really hyped for that. Those huge combat environments with all the destruction, especially with the newest hardware it could run on. But let's be honest, the last few months haven't been easy for Battlefield 6. We saw player numbers dropping, community feedback getting massively louder, and people started asking, is Battlefield losing its identity right now? What is it trying to be, and who does it trying to please? But Season 3 is coming, and I sincerely have hope that we're at a turning point, especially with the hints in Season 4 bringing naval combat, fan-favorite maps are being reworked, and we're seeing maps returning now, or even entering now, that are 4 times bigger with the biggest map we currently have in Battlefield 6.
We've heard your feedback about the kind of map experience you want.
So they are listening. So I just want to talk about what's coming and why it actually matters. So let's dive into it. So first, let's talk about the problem, right? The player drop, the community feedback. Battlefield 6 launched strong, right? With record-breaking sales. But after that, people quickly digested the game and saw that it didn't really brought more than the closed or the open alphas and the betas just gave us. And reports suggest the game lost a huge percentage of its Steam players in early 2026, with criticism focusing really on the lack of content and core features like server browsers, large-scale maps, especially the maps, right? They were too small, too chaotic, not enough room for vehicles, and not enough room for true Battlefield moments, if you will. And that's a big deal, because Battlefield has always been about scale, it's been about vehicles, it's been about that sandbox warfare. And that's what's missing in Battlefield 6, because don't get me wrong, Battlefield 6 is a really good game. There is nothing wrong with Battlefield 6 as it's presented, but it's not really a Battlefield. And the people who are playing Battlefield really wanted Battlefield to be Battlefield. Still getting me? Battlefield being Battlefield. Yeah. Here's the good news.
We've heard your feedback about the kind of map experience you want.
We're finally getting bigger maps with Season 3. They're finally addressing it. They heard us.
Railway to Goldberg, which will be the biggest map in Battlefield 6 yet.
We're getting the larger maps. The return of the classic like Goldmund Railway, for example, and a reimagined Grand Bazaar. And it's not just slightly bigger. One of the new maps is set to be almost 4 times larger than the current maps. And that's massive. That's huge, because that is exactly what the community has been asking for. More space for vehicles, more tactical play, less meat grinding chaos. I don't mind the meat grinding chaos, because also in the bigger maps in the previous Battlefield's installments, you had those smaller choke points where a lot of things are going on. But this is really focused on a few points on the map, and it constantly continues there. And even the developers admitted they heard the feedback loud and clear about wanted bigger maps.
We've heard your feedback about the kind of map experience you want.
Yeah, they finally heard us. This is Battlefield going back to its roots, and I'm really, really, really pleased to see that with Season 3 we are getting what we're asked for. This is where it really gets interesting, because naval warfare is returning. There were already some questions about it and some community feedback, and Season 4 is introducing it. Aircraft carriers, naval vehicles, dynamic ocean waves, in full land and air sea combat. And if you've played older older Battlefield games. Did you just hear me almost say Call of Duty here? That's what Battlefield 6 is doing to you currently. Now, if you've played older Battlefield games, you know how big this is. Maps like Wake Island are coming back, and they're built around that full-scale naval warfare against. This isn't just a feature, this is actually Battlefield implementing Battlefield. So thank you, Battlefield. Let's be real here for a second, because the content flow is still a concern. Even though this roadmap looks great, there is still a huge concern, and that's the pacing of the content. Each season is bringing around 2 maps at a time, and some players feel that's still too low. There are previous installments where one season brought maybe 4 or 5 maps. And after the drop in player count, the game does need a bit of a new momentum here to keep things going. Not just good update, but consistent, meaningful updates in terms of content. And with that content, we don't mean battle pass, we don't mean skins, we don't mean blueprints, we need maps, environments, large-scale maps, and a lot of them. And that's why this Season 3 update is bigger than just content. For me, it actually spells that it's a message. We're listening, we're seeing classic map returns, larger scale design, new systems like rank play and solo modes who are going to return, which I think is fantastic because this is something people ask for. But I'm not a battle royale player per se. I hardly play it, but I can understand if you like that you want a solo mode in there. So we're also seeing improvement like server browsing and community features finally entering, because we want to have those dedicated server browsers that you can not only set up your own experience and invite people to play, but you also are open for other people to try it. So they're trying to rebuild trust. And as far as I think, honestly, it's exactly what we need, but we should give them a chance, especially what happened with Battlefield, obviously, with Vincent Pella, obviously deceased. So yeah, I'm just. So the question is Battlefield 6 back? Not yet, but it is a first real step in the direction that we want to go in. Bigger maps, naval warfare, community-focused updates. This is the Battlefield people remember. Now the question is, can they deliver it fast enough to retain the people that they're not having and bring the players back in? I'm just really curious for you guys. Is it going to draw you back in? Have you left Battlefield 6? So are you going to come back with these new Season 3 updates? Or haven't you tried the game at all and are you now really curious to try it? Let me know in the comments, guys. I am actually excited about this update. I can't wait for it to go live. We'll really check it out. And in the meantime, if you need me, I'm still on Battlefield 6. See you later.
We've heard your feedback about the kind of map experience you want.